Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon for extra support. Any kind of news and updates, usually I go about on Twitter X. Yesterday, I did manage to do Midnight Suns episodes publishing there. And tomorrow will be another one. I might during today do I think yeah, the Atomic Heart. I did manage to get around and play the demo for that one, and I give my thoughts overall on at least on the demo side of the things in the end of the video. I will try to publish today to see if I can manage that. And I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I did manage to also play the Alters game demo, which is one of those that I am very interested, and still am very interested in playing this game. The demo came out like 3 days ago or something like that, and I did manage to snag the demo and try it out. I'm very interested in the gameplay mechanics and on the story side of things, how it is set up with the alter stuff. I'm very interested in the choices that you can make, if any. I assume it has some consequences on the gameplay. I'm very interested on that one also. But yeah, other than that, just a quick roundabout here and reminder that 4K gameplay, completed gameplay series that I already have. So the most recent one since I rebooted the channel per se, and before the 5 to 6 year pause that I basically had to do, I got the most ancient ones, let's say 1080p, and eventually some of these games I will replay them. Mainly, for example, Tomb Raider, because I want to play the replay the trilogy, and I didn't play the last game, the third game, and then also probably Resident Evil, because I want to do a Resident Evil gameplay series and playlists with all the Resident Evil, especially on the focus more on the remaster stuff, and probably also Alien Isolation. Yeah, I will eventually play the Wolfensteins also. So I got a lot of stuff to catching up. But yeah, still a lot of games here. There are still kind of old games, but still pretty good. So yeah, and they usually are on the cheap in these usually promotions and sales that Steam or GOG do. So yeah, let's go to the news. We got some information regarding the 5080, the upcoming 5080 from NVIDIA. Um, yeah, it's basically what we know so far. It's kind of a aggregation of the leaked and rumored information so far. So take it with a grain of salt. Um, it's going to be the basically the second fastest GPU from the RTX 50 lineup, of course, and basically the Blackwell GPUs will they will still use the 5 nanometer process node specifically, but it's going to use a different process there. So we'll have to wait and see in terms of the how it compares with the 40 series there. They go about here in a more specific thing, the PG 144, 147 SQ, whatever this is, supposedly with 84 SM, so Steam, not Steam, I completely forgot what it means there. SM's stream, whatever. I completely forgot. I'm sorry. Usually I stick with CUDA cores, and then there is the AMD ones, which is stream. Oh my god, I'm sorry. My memory today is not that good. But yeah, supposedly it's going to feature an uplift in 10% of CUDA cores comparatively to the 4080. And yeah, even in terms of this SM stuff, it's not that much. I'm not sure if the way they are going to manufacture these GPUs is the most thing that will increase the performance, because in terms of specifications, similarly in terms of raw specification, 10% up comparatively to the 4080, and supposedly still be able to, according to the rumors, be 10% faster than the 4090. It's a little bit finicky, so that's why I'm assuming at this moment in time it's the architecture that it's manufactured on, even though it's the same 5 nanometer node, kind of a thing there. So we'll have to wait there. again, one of the things here, especially on the 5080, is they're maintaining the same kind of VRAM capacity, even though they are going to upgrade supposedly to the GDDR7 instead of maintaining with the GDDR6X. Yeah, again, it's a little bit faster memory, but you can put all the faster memory that you want in the GPU when it reaches certain scenarios, especially at this performance here when you start playing 4K and you start putting graphic detail up and up, especially on textures, especially if you want to start using ray tracing, when even will DLSS stuff there, the VRAM will start piling up in terms of occupation. And I don't think 16 gigabytes, especially for this next generation, is it's starting not to be viable for this kind of performance GPU. Again, if it was the 5070 16 gigabytes, I think it's more than acceptable, kind of future proof per se, better than the 5080 with 16 gigabytes VRAM, even though they are throwing out there that kind of refresh or maybe a variant of the 4080 might come up with 24 gigabytes, because supposedly the 5090 is going to have 32 because of how GDDR7 does and how kind of modules they utilize. It's possible to achieve 24, 32 gigabytes also, I think. It can even utilize even more. But yeah, I think at this point in time, I think it's possible to make a 4080 20 gigabytes because of GDDR7 memory type stuff there. And I can think 16 gigabytes, or I'm not sure if it's possible 14, between 16 and 14 on the 57 will be good. And then the 59 they can utilize 24 and up, or in that case. But yeah, GTR7 is way faster, that's for sure. But they are still using the same bus with, which I think that's why I'm not sure about how they are going to use the VRAM stuff there. Because I think the way you can utilize the memory modules depends on the bus width of the VRAM itself. So it's basically the interface between the memory models and the GPU stuff there. So again, we'll have to wait for basically CES 2025, so next year, to have an official presentation from the 50 lineup to see what kind of hardware is going to use, and it's going to have more than one variant, the 5080. Again, if I was NVIDIA, I'm not, and I'm sure that I'm not alone, the 5080 should have minimum 20 gigabytes if possible, depending on how they use the memory stuff there, or at least 24. Then they can sell out the 5090 with 42 gigabytes of VRAM and above. It's good for like the Halo product to even use it as, I don't know, AI accelerator at home or something like that with that capacity there. Because it takes advantages. A lot of workloads now can take advantage of that VRAM. And I think the 57 should be 16 gigabytes, and then the lower stuff, they needs to be a minimum of 10 at least, the way that Intel is at least addressing that with the B570, which has 10 gigabytes of GDDR memory, and the B5080 has 12, if not mistaken. But yeah, hopefully this thing with the memory stuff, because I don't think people will swallow up much more, or if it's kind of shenanigan happening with the 5080 to again try to upsell for a 5090. I don't know, depending on the marginal prices. And in terms of pricing, we don't have like a definitive answer for this, even though I think it will be at least $1,000. The way they're going about it, they launched the 4080 at when it was launched at the MSRP of $1,200, and only after the 4080 Super came out, they came out at $1,000. But yeah, other than that, I don't see not even matching $1,000. Again, I don't think they are very focused on the DIY market to the point of wanting to compete too much. And of course, AMD is not launching anything that can be comparable to a 5080 performance competitor there, and even not Intel from the news that we saw. So I don't think they are very interested in being price competitive there. But yeah, so far this is what we got here as a kind of aggregation of the information regarding at least the 5080, which should be, in terms of high-end graphic GPUs, it's going to be supposedly the one that sells most, mainly because of the price. Again, supposedly 5090, there is a lot of rumors that it's going to hover around $2,000, which is, again, you can build a system for $2,000 that can run 4K 60-ish games instead of buying a GPU itself. Even the 4090 at this price point, it is at this price point at this moment in time, which is insane. Given that with that price point, again, 4K 60, I think you can build, if you're save in some areas there. I can still think that you can manage to build a pretty decent system. Even an AM5 system, you can build a pretty good system with that value there. So again, this is going to be people that have money to waste on only GPUs at this price point. But yeah, this is what I got here. In terms of games, got a lot of news. This is kind of a recent one. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League support will end January next year. It will maintain supposedly an offline mode, and it's going to. They announced this after the Deathstroke DLC thing here. It's going. Yeah, start today, season 4, whatever this is. I don't know. I don't follow this game. Suppose it's out now. I think it will finish when the episode 8 of season 4 is going to launch. They will basically shut down the servers for this, and I think they will be maintaining an offline mode, which I think lets you, if you want to play the game for whatever reason, you can play the story missions and the DLC missions in a solo mode. At least that's my understanding. And again, it's I don't know why they still wanted to maintain this. Again, we'll have to assume that it's kind of a write-off, because at least in terms of losses, 200, not losses, but damages in terms of this game, at least $200 million in losses for DC on the part of the gaming division there. It's a lot of money that was lost there. Recently, I didn't even know this. Again, I don't follow the game on Steam. The autumn sale, the game was 95% off, and I think they didn't sell enough copies. I don't think they sell a lot, because from the numbers, I think they are on the low hundreds, if that. But as I mentioned before, I don't follow this game. But yeah, this came out today, that is going to be shut down finally, because nobody liked this game, or at least not enough people like this game to buy it and play it at a consistent rate after the game was launched there. In other updates, we got supposedly new updating coming for Cyberpunk 2077. I'm a little bit worried with this. Something that, again, I don't play too much GTA 5, and we got this thing with Rockstar DEI Mafia, the acronym Mafia, working its way on GTA 6, or it seems so. And there was, I think, a couple of years or so after, Endymion did a good video on that, covering a lot of the shenanigans happening there in the corporate side of things with the developers and all these guys in certain key positions. And GTA 5 did a huge update, I think, a couple of years ago, where they remove a lot of the edginess of the game itself, especially regarding LGBT communities, like jokes and stuff that is considered edgy. Again, it's a kind of humor that you need to have it in context. It's a freaking game. It doesn't inspire itself in real life, and it's, to a sense, is to try to play around a little bit on certain of edginess that was lost after, especially Dan Hauser, Laszlo. I forgot the second name, and the other guy that were basically the co-founders and the main brains per se of in terms of the creativity behind the GTA series. Again, after they went out, I think they were seeing the writing on the wall, and I'm a little bit worried that I don't know with this kind of updates, given that again this game is still on Red Engine. There seems to be no huge amount of engineering behind this engine. Maybe some of the teams of the engineering that are working on this game might trying to extend their workplace there at CD Projekt Reds by continue to working on Cyberpunk and launching patches, trying to justify the work that they are doing there because they are full on the sequel, not the sequel, but I think they are pre-production on the sequel from Cyberpunk, but they are full on regarding The Witcher 4. So yeah, I don't know what we might have coming out from this update 2.2. But yeah, this supposedly is going to be a live stream soon. See you tomorrow. So today, supposedly, we'll have a stream highlighting the update itself. But yeah, again, depending if they hopefully they don't tone down anything that might be considered like acronym mafia sensitive stuff there. Hopefully it's just mainly in terms of gameplay, some fixes here and there. Maybe they might have introduced kind of one feature that was lost in the weeds since the game was launched, and they promised that something like that. I think might justify a stream or so to highlight that feature that might be revived or something like that or introduced in the game. But other than that, I'm still a little bit worried that the fact that they basically dropped the ball on in terms of supporting the game because again the game is already out from I don't know 3 years or so or 4 years. So yeah, it's my only precaution here in terms of how this game is going to be coming with upcoming updates that they might launch there. And continue with the update stuff there, we got Atomic Heart DLC, Enchanted Under the Sea, so the third DLC out of 4 promised is coming out January 28th. I watched the trailer again. This game seems to be pretty fun. I did manage to record already as I mentioned, the demo of this game. I'm very interested. It's got that feel with like cheeky 80s humor with the 50s vibes from USSR in a utopian, dystopian level there. Plays a little bit like Bioshocky. Again, we on the demo you're not fully introduced to every mechanic there, but you get a tease of at least on the combat and some parts of the navigation that you're going through. It's a tease also for the story itself. But yeah, I kind of I will eventually play this game for sure, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do a series or not, depending on my time constraints. But yeah, very very interesting. This is Under the Sea, Enchanted Under the Sea. It gives away. Seems pretty interesting. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, so far they are launching now the third out of 4 DLCs promised for, and I think that the DLCs coming from this game seem to be pretty hefty. So they are not just one mission that you can play in a couple of hours. Seems to be something that also adds to the mythology of the world, which is pretty interesting. And then we got a tease. We got Covenant. I think I covered this studio, which is how it calls. Not Covenant is the name of the game. Legion Studios, which is a team consisting of very small, very small team of people, around 12 or so, that consists from developers from Halo, Call of Duty, Destiny, Doom, Apex Legends, Battlefield. Again, the one that pulls out more. This game seems to be very Doom inspired because it seems like Doom medieval the way they go about it there, which is very interesting. But yeah, it's a first-person dark fantasy combat game. Again, so we got melee and long range, so weapons are introduced here on the trailer. Again, the footage, take it, don't get too hyped. This is pre-alpha footage. It's built on Unreal Engine 5. The footage is all in rendered in game, on in-engine game, and on the build, so pre-alpha. You can see that there is the pre-alpha there, but the concept is pretty interesting. Unfortunately, there's still no estimate type of release or any kind of release window for this game, but they already wish listed, so I can follow up. I got intrigued here again. The setup, it's kind of seems like Doom Medieval the way it's played out, and yeah, I'm pretty interested on this one. And given the fact that we will see this more next year, I think, like smaller studios that are comprised from experienced developers from other studios that got takeover from the acronym Mafia, or that the games are completely shit show, but they are very experienced people on the industry. They are forming their own little studios, doing some passion projects there with some interesting takes, trying to revolutionize per se, and or try to experiment with some concepts that are already established, which is always interesting to see. It is something that I think most gamers and consumers want to see from time to time, at least some experimentation, taking some risks here and there, even if it is from smaller studios. But again, with some seems to be the consistency here is that they are veterans on the industry. But yeah. You can wishlist the game. Again, there is a PC specs there on the Steam page, very vague. Again, don't take it. I think you need to fill out that to launch a page of the game. So don't get turned off with that. But yeah, it's going to be my only concern is the fact that it's a Real Engine 5. Hopefully, it performs good. But the trailer again, it's rendered in the cinematics in game, but it is what it is. And then lastly, we got again Ubisoft drama. They supposedly the Guillemot family is stalling any kind of buyout attempt because they want to maintain control. Again, like spoiled brats, they think they are still owning the thing, even though they want people to buy out stakes, and they still maintain control. Again, just a quick roundup here. The Guillemot family, who started Ubisoft in '86, it's almost as old as me, have led their company down the path of ruin. Now they face an unavoidable situation. The company needs to buy up stock and privatize it if it has any hope of staving off a hostile takeover. There is some negotiation supposedly with Tencent. But again, I don't know what they are thinking here. The thing is, Tencent wants more a say in the boardroom decision within Ubisoft, sorry, including cash flow distribution. If they take up more that they own, they at this point in time own 10% of Ubisoft. Again, the negotiation is Tencent buys off more share power, but they don't gain anything from that. Because again, reportedly the Guillemot don't accept these terms, and the deal is danger on falling through. Yeah, but similarly, Tencent is apparently happy with 10% of stake in the company, believing it to be acceptable for gaming business corporation. Again, I don't think this is going to go well. There is some. They say it's an industry expert and Superdata founded Jos van Drunen. Again, I think this is the most likely thing to happen to a certain extent. Ubisoft heading for privatization and dismantling in 2025. So basically, I will assume that the family, or the Guillemot family, will be an ass about it, and basically will take the company private, and they will try to sell off the assets one by one to try and make it the most money out of it, and just basically screw Ubisoft to a certain degree. Mainly because again the share price is plummeting. Whatever, I don't follow up that much the stock market stuff there. But yeah, Ubisoft development approach remains stubbornly outdated. This is coming also from an analysis of the company this is very broad speaking terms, in a narrow demanding playing engagement and community building. Again, the community building, it's a lot what's happening here, that they are basically not listening to anybody. They don't give a shit. Don't They don't give a shit about the customers. Since we saw this, I think it from Ubisoft, that one of the senior people on the company said that customers need, or the gamers need, to be accustomed of not owing games. So the common community building is not very well positioned there. And then they continue without a fundamental shift in how they develop and maintain games. They risk further alienating both investors and players. Again, also the investors very important. Again, we got the Resident X Defiant shutdown isn't just another failed launch. It's a symptom of a company that insists on catering to a passive audience while failing to recognize the urgency or rethink distribution. Yeah, and I think here, even with the fact that dismantling, there is a lot of analysis that the franchises, so the IPs by themselves, if this happen, might worth more if they are sold separately. So this Assassin's Creed franchise is sold to a company, let's say the Rainbow Six Siege to another, the Rayman to another. I think they might be able to do more money. That's why I think the privatization of the company and dismantling it will be the most likely way. Because again, at the end, these little people's minds is all about the money and nothing else. They don't care too much about the project that they have and the IPs that they are holding. It's all about the money, and they are usually very petty with that. So they don't care about if what happens to those IPs. But yeah, I think if something like this happen, I think this kind of IPs, especially from Ubisoft, even for example, the Tom Clancy, I'm not sure if the IPs from Tom Clancy can be divided. I will assume so. But for example, the Splinter Cells IP could be, if landed on the good studio to develop a Splinter Cell game, would be good. I think another company could have, if in good hands, Assassin's Creed can be revitalized, especially if they completely reboot everything from there, and start an overall arching story on the real world. Because when they started, again, it's a shame. Assassin's Creed, when they started with the Desmond stuff, they were trying to get somewhere. It was very interesting what they were trying to get, and the fact that basically connected what happened on the Animus machine there. But yeah, that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, Ubisoft, I think it's again. I think next year might be an interesting year for Ubisoft and some other companies. Because the quarter earnings and the early earnings of these failed launches that been happening this year and last year are coming to a close, and people will have to face the consequences of the decisions that they made on a few years ago with this acronym mafia influence on the gaming industry. But yeah, let's end up this episode with some good stuff. On Epic Game Store at this moment, you got a lot of couple of days. There is for free Bus Simulator 21, and if you enjoy Lego Star Wars, this is the Skywalker Saga. I think these are the again Skywalker Saga. I think it's for the first 6 movies, but I see here this Kylo Ren stuff, so I'm not sure. This has got the Finn character in BB-8. Again, I'm not sure that if it is how many games are here, because this is a Skywalker Saga, very broad terms here. But on Steam, we got The Children of Morta, 75% off. Got Atomic Heart. I already played the demo. Probably today I will publish that video. 67% off on the base game, and then we got the premium edition, which has the DLC stuff. We got also Journey, excellent game. I played this on console few years back. But yeah, the game is not that recent. It's an older game, but it's a pretty good one, and it's cheap. And the experience that you take out of it, I think it's worthwhile, even at full price. We got No Man's Sky, again, still on sale, 60% off. A lot of game to play here, and they have expedition reduxes now. We got also Jagged Alliance free, 50% off on the base game. Yeah, I like this kind of games, turn-based combat, and you got a squad of mercenaries going around and do their thing. And in the same vein, you got War Tales is in the more medieval setting, and it's also 50% off the base game. We got also Dredge, Lovecraftian storytelling and weirdness on this game, and the fishing mechanic, and it's 50% off. We got Lies of P, 40% off. DLC will come out. I didn't manage to confirm, but between until the later this year, I think the DLC, or beginning of next year, if not mistaken. But yeah, excellent game. Very positive feedback since it has launched, and it's one of those that I want to try out one of these days. Also, then you got Nobody Wants to Die. Again, this is kind of that detective thing that you go time, not time travel, but you can look into a past or something like that. It's got very positive reviews, around 90% or so. So it might be a good option here, and it's 40% off at this moment in time. We got also the Invincible, 35% off, and Pacific Drive. Again, this is one of those that I'm very interested on playing, mainly because of the roguelike kind of a thing here, and the survival aspects here seems pretty interesting here, and it's 40% off on the base game. But yeah, I will wrap up here for today, guys, with a plug on my Patreon for access support. The access support is more in line for me to be able to get around and buy a better storage solution so I can have backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and also some extra space for the videos that I do for my channel. And with all that said, I hope we have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunami Master out.